The half-dark of the old hall felt like the calm before a storm. The air was heavy with the scent of aged wood and sweat. Scrolls with ancient calligraphy hung on the walls, words of honor, duty, silence. Beneath them lay worn tatami mats that had absorbed the weight of countless falls and forgotten battles. In the center of the hall stood a prisoner. His name was simply Cain. His robe was torn, his hair tangled, but his eyes were steady. There was something in his gaze that made the officers around him uneasy, though they hid it behind laughter. "Greater than this foreigner still refuses to bow," sneered the captain, a thin man with a sharp face. "Maybe he doesn't understand our language." "Greater than, or maybe he's pretending," said another. "Let's show him what respect means." Cain said nothing. He stood motionless, as though listening to something within himself. Outside, the wind rattled the bamboo blinds, the rhythmic sound echoing like a heartbeat. The senior officer stepped forward and tossed him a wooden sword. "Greater than, take it. Prove you deserve to stand in this hall." The sword rolled across the floor and stopped at Cain's bare feet. He looked down, not with contempt, but with quiet sadness. He picked it up delicately, as if lifting a fallen branch. "Greater than, you wish to humiliate me," he finally said, softly, yet every word carried weight. "You humiliate not me, but the path you walk. Greater than, ha." The captain laughed. "He speaks like a monk. He'll be silent soon enough when pain teaches him humility." They surrounded him, 5 men, young and confident. On their faces was not hatred, only boredom and arrogance. This was a game to them, a ritual of dominance. Cain breathed slowly. He could hear the flicker of a candle, the shuffle of approaching feet. One step, another. The air trembled. Then, in an instant, movement. Cain's wooden sword barely cut through the air, a simple rotation of his wrist, a turn of his body. The first attacker fell, as if tripping over his own strength. The second struck downward. Cain sidestepped, and his counter was so gentle, so precise, that the man dropped to his knees, stunned. The others froze. What they saw was not combat, it was art. A flowing dance born from stillness. Cain's movements were calm, almost sorrowful. He did not attack, he simply allowed them to fall into the weight of their own aggression. "Greater than, enough," shouted the senior officer. All together. 3 men lunged at once. The air cracked with strikes. Yet Cain seemed to vanish between them. Each step, each turn, was a breath of wind. One sword flew out of a hand, another hit the wall. Silence followed. Cain lowered his weapon. 5 men lay defeated. No blood, no rage, only realization. He looked at the officer. "Greater than, you wish to see my submission," Cain said. "You've seen it, in the fact that I spared them." The officer did not reply. His fingers trembled, not from fear, but from understanding. Outside, the wind sighed through the paper screens. The candle's flame quivered and died. "Greater than, who are you?" The officer whispered. "Greater than, I am one who remembers," Cain answered. "Remembers that strength without respect is weakness." He placed the sword gently back on the floor and walked toward the door. No one tried to stop him. As he passed, one of the young soldiers, still kneeling, bowed his head. Cain paused, gave a small nod in return. Not as a victor, but as a teacher. The night outside was cool. In the distance, cicadas sang. Cain crossed the courtyard and stopped on a stone bridge. He watched the water flow beneath, reflecting the lanterns of the city. In his reflection, he no longer saw a warrior, but a man who had learned through pain that true power is not in destruction, but in restraint. He crouched, touched the water. Ripples, spread outward, soft and endless. Those who humiliate others, he thought, are prisoners of their own fear. From afar came the sound of a drum, the start of some distant ceremony. Cain stood, turned toward the mountains, and walked into the fading dark. Back in the hall, the officers slowly rose. The senior one looked at the wooden sword still lying on the tatami. He picked it up and felt the warmth of the wood. "Greater than, he defeated us without hatred," he murmured. "He won because he didn't need to win." The youngest soldier bowed his head. "Greater than, my teacher once said, the strongest strike is the one you never make. I thought it was just words." "Greater than, now you know," the senior said quietly, "it is the path." They left the hall in silence. The lantern by the door swayed gently in the wind, its trembling light refusing to die. Cain walked the mountain road. With every step, the noise of the world faded, and his heartbeat found harmony again. There was no pride in him, only calm sadness. In every battle, he had seen the reflection of a world still searching for peace. He stopped at the ridge and looked to the sky. The clouds moved slowly, breathing with the earth itself. "Greater than, let them remember this day," he whispered. "Not for me, but for the moment they will face their own pride." He closed his eyes. The wind passed through the bamboo once more, the same sound as before, a soft whisper of balance. Within that sound was everything: pain, forgiveness, serenity. When dawn came, sunlight filled the hall below. On the tatami still lay Cain's wooden sword. No one dared move it. And long after, new students who trained there swore that, in the morning silence, they could still hear the faint sound of wind through bamboo. As if an unseen master continued his eternal path.